Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Good morning to you. Happy Jupiter's Day. Let's take a look at our overview for the day. We are in Taurus season, the Celtic tree month of Willow, Beaver season. We are in that fourth quarter waning crescent for the moon, and the planetary retrograde season begins today. This happens every year, and from today until February 23rd, 2025, we will have at least one planet in retrograde at all times. So that's the way it's going to be. So this is going to be a great time of going through our closets, our mental closets or otherwise, seeing what's there, seeing what needs to be addressed. You can expect that unresolved issues from the past will be brought up. And of course, these issues will be in relation to the planet that is in retrograde at the time. So don't worry, we will walk through this together. It's going to be okay. So let's get deeper into the astrology for today. The sun, of course, it remains in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. The moon begins the day, void of course, and then at 1:52 p.m. Central Time, it will enter fourth quarter Pisces, which is a mutable water sign representing artistry. Mercury is in Aries, cardinal fire, representing alertness. Venus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing artistry. Mars is in Aries, cardinal fire, representing initiative. Jupiter is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, representing imagination. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, representing imagination. Pluto begins the day in Aquarius, a fixed air representing reformation. And then at 12:46 p.m. Central Time, it goes retrograde in Aquarius, which means that it is now time to examine our intentions. And the Pluto retrograde will end October 11th, 2024 at 7:34 p.m. Central Time. So just as we had a Mercury retrograde mantra, we're going to have a Pluto retrograde mantra, which is reflect, heal, evolve. We're going to be hearing that a lot. So we are in a waning crescent moon. So the keywords for that are rest, reflect, and purge. As we're going into that Pisces moon, some do's for us to keep in mind are compassion, retreat, and cleanse. Some don'ts are over-rationalizing, being too communal, where we were reaching out and wanting to be around people before. Now it's time to pull back a little bit. And also, don't be one-dimensional. As human beings, we are a very complicated, multifaceted beings. So don't narrow yourself down too much. Don't ignore your own particular layers. And that's something that I see very prominently on social media. There'll be this one characteristic of people, and then they turn it into their entire identities. Well, it isn't. No one characteristic about any of us, whether it's our appearance or our philosophy on life, anything that we believe or likes and dislikes, no one thing actually defines all that we are. We are so much more than these things. So if you have found yourself pulled into that trap, do your best to start pulling yourself out again. You deserve more. You are more. So we are on the day of Jupiter, and Jupiter in Taurus, it keeps us moving forward, but you might feel inclined to greater introspection regarding the state of the world and the direction that it's going. That's the Pluto retrograde influence. So if you are feeling lost in thought today, this might be a good time to focus upon more routine tasks rather than trying to tackle big creative projects. If there's something routine, paperwork, reorganizing the pantry, something that's simple, that doesn't really require a lot of thought, it just needs to be done. This is probably going to be a better day for that kind of work. Our tarot for today is the moon. The moon in this deck represents subconscious stirrings of the mind, everything that is within the dark of that subconscious mind that can only really communicate with us through surges of intuition or through some symbols in our dreams. This is what that moon card is all about. It is about also messages and intuition, and of course the goddess herself. The goddess doesn't always speak to us in this very loud, overt, robust way, but she'll whisper. She'll get into our subconscious. She will talk to us through symbols and dreams. She'll there will be little things that come up in our path. And what it really represents is that she's challenging us. Have we been listening? Have we learned from those whispers? So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you find anything that happens to be tripping you up today. It could just be an opportunity for you to learn a little something. Now, today's Celtic Triad reads three things that are the portion of the wealthy: more and more covetousness, more and more care, and less pleasure. So, once again, if wealth is treated as a goal in and of itself, it creates a hunger and a thirst for more that can never be satisfied. Essentially, what this is describing is greed. You aren't going to find enough. You aren't going to be content. You're not going to say, this is good, I've made it, because the goal, of course, is wealth. And once you have a certain amount, you're like, oh, if I just do this, or I work a little harder, or I do something else, I can have more. But then, what do you do with all of that more? If you don't have a goal for that more, then it's just going to become a burden to you rather than a blessing. Because the more you have, the more responsibility you have, the more you have to take care of, the more you are going to be held liable for. Like a lot of people, they might have this big house and they have the swimming pool and they have this and they have that. But then think about their insurance costs, not only for the house itself, but also liability. What if there's an accident with the pool? What if you have horses and the horses kick someone in the head? There's a lot of different issues that can really result in someone not being able to enjoy the fullness of their blessings just because there's a lot of burdens and responsibilities that balance that out. And of course, if your whole life is consumed with materialism, it will leave less room for you to enjoy your blessings in general. And it might make people less prone to just take a moment and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Like your morning coffee or a morning cup of tea, first thing when it's just that nice warm brew and that sweet, sweet hit of caffeine as you're trying to come up out of your sleepiness. You can enjoy that whether you're a billionaire or whether, having a cup of tea is really kind of a little extravagance that you can barely afford, but you do it because it gives you comfort. Both people and everywhere in between, you can get joy out of that if you can enjoy these simple pleasures. But if you get to a point where you cannot enjoy simple pleasures, then it is time to reassess where you are, and probably not so much how you're managing your resources, but what is your attitude towards those resources? Are you trying to make them mean more than what they actually do? Now, today's magical intention is centered on the home. The color is purple, the plant is the lilac, the animal is the cow, and the crystal is the green calcite. And when cared for properly, your home can become an oasis from the madness of the world. That's why I talk probably ad nauseum for some of you, but I promise it's well intentioned about the importance of the home, taking care of it, making sure that you are seizing ownership of it, shoring up your relationships between yourself, your family, and the house spirit, the house brownie, however you are envisioning that energy that comprises the soul of the house itself. It matters. These things, the more solid they are, it means that it can be a source of great comfort during times of trouble. And let's be honest, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of trouble that could potentially affect us very personally in ways that previous generations, perhaps, they had a bit more distance from. We're living in a very different world from that of our grandparents, to be sure. And also the home, it can be a break. There's so many rules, there's so many people trying to tell you what to do out in the world and how they think you ought to be and all the opinions they think you ought to have. But at home, what can matter is what you think, what your spouse think, what your children think. And if you have cats, I'm sure they'll have their thoughts to add to the situation as well. But it's more focused upon something that's local. It's about, we don't have to care about the preferences of the rest of the world. We're good, decent people, so it's what we think is what matters in the home. So that's why I keep coming back to this topic. So for our pagan practice today, honor the house brownie. I'm really feeling strong pushes to forge closer ties, have better relationships with these spirits. Truth is, because the lore's not exactly what any of us would call complete. I think we don't really know the extent to how important that relationship could really be, or how this particular spirit or being or whatever they ultimately are, the degree of the impact and the power that they can actually wield is. So I don't know. It's just I keep getting this push through my intuition. And so I'm sharing that with you. Make of that what you will. This is also a good day to do a bit of magical cooking, of course, and tend your garden. Bring in some cut flowers in, your own flowers. Don't go pestering your neighbor. And, I suppose you could go out and get wildflowers, but, some states have funny laws. So if you are cutting wildflowers, make sure that you're not getting yourself in trouble for it. Also, if you can, at the end of the day, instead of, scrolling YouTube or Twitter or watching TV, maybe curl up with a good book instead. If it's a book that you can share with your family, so much the better. And if you have an opportunity, watch the sunset, enjoy that simple pleasure in life. And for our journal today, we have the goddess Ehrenrod, who is said to be one of the many deities known to preside over hand fastings or be in a position to really bless them. So what I would encourage you to do is do a little bit of reading about this goddess, get to know her a little bit better if you haven't worked with her before, and then write about what you think this goddess could bring to a hand fasting ceremony. And that's what I have for you today, guys. Now, let me know what you think of it in the comments section below, or send me an email at brigantiablackbird@protonmail.com, and I'll be happy to chat with you there. But I think this will do it for now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.